Hello and welcome, I'm your host KB and you're watching the Retrospective. The Inhumanoids is an often forgotten property from the 80s. Like Transformers and G.I. Joe, it was owned by Hasbro and existed as both a toy line and an animated series, which was released in 1986.
Inhumanoids, the evil that lies within. Inhumanoids. Now see them every week in their own show. Can the Earth Corps stop this evil menace? Down in the fiery depths of the earth where nightmares.
The show was produced by Sunbow and Marvel Productions, and first aired as several shorter episodes alongside other shows such as Gem and Robotics. The 5 short episodes were then edited together to create the Inhumanoid movie, The Evil That Lies Within, which was then released on VHS. The Evil That Lies Within was then re-edited to 5 22-minute long episodes, which aired alongside 8 other original episodes which comprised the show's 13-episode run.
Inhumanoids, the evil that lies within. From down in the fiery depths of the earth where nightmares begin. Inhumanoids, the evil that lies within.
Our protagonists are a group of scientists known as the Earth Corps, who use specially designed exosuits in order to endure the subterranean elements. And from the depths of the Earth comes the show's namesake, the Inhumanoids, which are the show's main antagonists. The Inhumanoids are various giant monsters with different looks and abilities who are more destructive villains, akin to the likes of Godzilla. They are confined to the Earth's core by the Mutors, which are a group of friendly monsters such as the Redwoods and Magnacore, who work alongside the human Earth Core to keep the Inhumanoids at bay. The Inhumanoids are more forces of nature than typical villains, so the show encompasses more typical human villains to propel the story forward, such as Blackthorn Shaw, an archaeologist who wants to use his knowledge to take control and harness the power of the Inhumanoids, as well as Senator Masterson, a corrupt politician who uses his sway to stop the Earth Corps group and their funding, so he can use their technology, specifically their exosuits, for himself. All the monsters here are great, such as Metlar, a rage-fueled beast who spits lava, who led the Inhumanoids against the Mutors in the war that led to their confinement to the underworld. Tendril, a swamp-like creature who reminds me of Marvel's Man-Thing, and my personal favourite Inhumanoid, Decompose. Decompose is voiced by the amazing Christopher Collins, who voices such other legendary 80s characters as Cobra Commander and Starscream. His gruesome name aptly reflects how badass he is as a giant dinosaur skeleton hybrid whose exposed ribcage opens up to hold his captives.
Let go of me, you big mulch pile!
Stay here while I deal with these slugs.
He can also turn humans into undead monsters simply by touching them. Now that's epic.
I am one with Decompose! Turned her into a nightmare.
Unfortunately, unlike the monsters, the human characters here are all quite generic and uninteresting. With names like Herc, Liquidator, and Digger, the characters are somewhat indistinguishable from each other. And while it's awesome to have a great group of bad guys to beat, You really need a memorable group of heroes for the viewers to get behind. The heroes here did feature notable voice actors, such as Michael Bell and William Calloway, who did notable characters in the G.I. Joe series. But unlike the G.I. Joe series, the characters here lack any real personality and distinct looks which endear us to the characters. Unlike G.I. Joe, the visuals here are really gruesome, featuring scenes such as Gargoyle literally eating a man and you can see him digesting in his stomach.
Show restraint, Gargoyle. Do not digest him yet. Gargoyle, spit him out!
The animation here is really strong, featuring a detailed and shadow-heavy art style, which complements the grotesque characters and makes it feel less like a cartoon for kids. It also showcased what felt like more mature storylines, such as Olga running against the corrupt Senator Masterson after he forces the other presidential candidates to withdraw.
Congressman Gary Lund, who describes himself as a conservative liberal. George Shrub, who calls himself a liberal conservative. And Senator Wilfred Masterson, who has yet to commit to a platform.
With all due respect, Mr. Knight, I like to consider myself both a conservative liberal and a liberal conservative.
What a jerk!
All these elements combined make for a very interesting and unique kids show. And while the toy line marketing showed that the property was targeted at a younger demographic, the show itself felt geared towards an older audience. And that's why I feel the show didn't last very long.
Metlar and other figures sold separately from Hasbro.
After all, Hasbro was a toy company who produced shows in order to sell toys. And while Sunbow did produce a great show, it ultimately failed to sell toys, which is sad because the toy line and the show were both pretty awesome for the era.
The battle with the Inhumanoids might be over, but the war within the Earth rages on.
Earth Core, suit up!
The series did get limited DVD releases in both the US and the UK, but they're long since out of production. Personally, I would like to see a bigger distribution company get a hold of the property and do a nice collector's edition. This would help preserve the show for a new audience like myself who didn't get to see the show's original run.
Who can stop him? Earth Core, I hope!
Can Earth Core stop this evil before it's too late?
As always guys, thanks very much for watching the show. Please remember to subscribe to the channel and I'll catch you guys on the next episode of The Retrospective.